summer. And you'll pretty soon see why that is. Okay? This is called the Earth season. Earth season starts July 22nd this year. Okay? You're not in Earth season yet, so I'm going to give some of y'all a heads up of what Earth season is. Because if I teach you about Earth season is already happening, it's kind of late. What we're trying to do here is that we're going to educate my patients on what's coming up and what are some symptoms that's going to be coming up so that you can start doing things to prepare for it. So you have a good transition. And note the word transition, that's very important in Earth season. Okay, so that's me. 10-year acupuncture practitioner of Chinese medicine. 300 years of acupuncture lineage of the balance method and tongue acupuncture. And I am the #1 apprentice of the balance method. I am also two books. I co-authored 2 books of balance method. And this is the #1 rated acupuncture clinic according to top rated locals. And I'm a doctor of Oriental medicine. And I'm a loud sneezer. So this is to help people declare health independence. Okay, we hold natural healing to be self-evident, that it is empowered by their creator with the ability to heal, and that all persons can restore and thrive. Among those are positive energy, purpose, and the pursuit of happiness. Who wants to learn about happiness?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Happiness 101. According to the Webster Dictionary, happiness is a feeling of emotional state that's characterized by a feeling of joy, satisfaction, right, contentment, fulfillment. Right, you'll soon see that summer is related to the joy part. But for me, the happiness here is more like life satisfaction. Okay, sometimes you may not be happy all the time. You go work, a long day of work. You may not be very happy when you go home, but hey, if you're doing meaningful work, you feel fulfilled, right? So, the secrets of happiness is the next page. Let's see what's in the next page. Before we get into acupuncture, we must know what Yin and Yang is. Okay. Who here has never seen the symbol before? Okay. Everybody has. Okay. In America, mostly Team Yang wins. Okay. Yang is about being active. Yang is about productivity. Yang is about moving to the next level, right? And that's why Yang is important. But people, they don't see the Yin. Okay. Matter of fact, a lot of older folks, they when they get to be retirement age, they started to kind of value Yin more than the Yang. Okay. As you know that the Yang and Yin transition throughout life. So those of you that done Team Yin, when we do a survey, are mostly people that have gained a little bit more wisdom in life. Right? Yang is more like a very vibrant energy. I can't contain it. I just want to go out and do it. So where are we right now? We are actually at the phase where the Yang is ending and Yin is starting to solidify. Okay. So those of you that attended my last class, where is summer solstice? Anybody? She says south. Oh, okay, she knows. So yes, summer is the south direction. So it's where there is very little shadow. Okay? So that right now, as we're transitioning, Earth season is about right here. Okay? It's about consolidation. Okay? So who here has worked with a personal trainer before? You go work out and then rest and recovery. Right. All right, so Earth transition season is what gives stability and consistency. Think about a world like this. You have sun at one moment, and then a minute later, boom, all of a sudden dark. How does that feel? how would you feel?
Depressed.
I'd do it.
Okay? Why is that?
Too much of a change, you don't have a transition.
Correct. So what happens when there is what is it? Solar eclipse. What happens?
It gets dark more.
Right. You see all the animals, they hide, right? They don't want to see it. But humans, they wear the sunglasses, they want to watch, right? So what world is this becoming to?
Yeah.
The long summer begins. So that's a typo there, I apologize. It's actually July 22nd. Okay, ends around the fall equinox, which is the first week of September. This is the Almanac Calendar. I know it's Chinese on here. Some of y'all might feel intimidated, but just note that, right, the first number here is the month, and the second one is the date. So it's roughly from the 19th to the 20th of April is, right, when Earth season starts, and it ends on the following one, okay? So these transition times are all Earth seasons, and this right here is a big Earth season. Now some of you might think, okay, well that's not fair. Why is the fall season, right? This is the spring is green, red is summer, right? This is actually fall here, right? You need pumpkins, and then this one right here is winter. Earth season is related to the digestion. So a lot of patients that come in, you'll see later is that we treat the digestion first because that's the root. That's what's holding everything together. When you have everything held together, suppose if your digestion is great, so you have a great Earth season, you get all these times you feel good, okay? So let's say if I feel, right, for November to January, I don't feel good, but hey, it's Earth season, my stomach is good, I start feeling good. So that'll carry you here. And then let's say you have another dip, your Earth season again, you feel good, right? Then you overall will have a good time. You will overall be luckier. So luck is defined as involuntary, right? Is that it's not something that I did. It's like Stamina said, something that just happened. So then you think about, right? We have, assuming that life is like a person. And what's going on in life is what's going on inside life's body, right? If the Earth season is great, that means everything just works out without you having to do anything about it. All right, so right here. So summer solstice is right here. So this is the other imagery, verse actually. So summer solstice should be south because south is your direction. Okay. So that summer solstice, there's no dark, right? So this picture, the yin and yang picture, is actually formed by the sundial of how much shadow is cast in relative with different times of the year. Assuming you're on a 45-degree angle of where the sun is, right? So that's happened to be where this was originated, is that, right? China is located right at the 45-degree angle of the Yellow River Valley, so that we observe 4 seasons. So as we put the sundial out, right, in the winter times, there's gonna be a lot of shadows. Like right here, winter solstice, and then summer solstice is no shadows. Right? But there is actually no such thing as no shadows, unless you're on the equator, right? But this is just where the shadow is the shortest. Okay, so this is context and contrast. So then the Earth season would be from, right, the summer solstice, a little bit later, is actually from the great heat all the way up to the autumn equinox. So right here, this is Earth transitioning season. Okay? It's when the yang forms into the yin. Okay? So when in health is what? You're gaining muscle, you're doing all this, right? What about for illness? Because pathogens are also lives too. We have to know that. Viruses, pathogens, sickness, they all have life of their own, and they all have their life cycle. So if someone starts experiencing pain, oh gosh, I have a pain right here, and then they go to the doctor right away, get actually don't see anything, right? Guess what? When that pain goes through the transition season, it started becoming yin, means that it starts to materialize. That's when you can see something, right? It's from yang to yin is from no form, from the formless to the form.
So the pain is the beginning, is the pain the beginning or?
Pain indicates a disharmony in the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. Pain indicates a disharmony in the beginning, and it becomes an accumulation phase at somewhere, right? Then it's either sharp or throbbing, and then after 60 days, it completes the cycle, right? Then you look at it, you have a tumor or some kind of growth. But before that, this is why you get a second opinion, right? You wait, what, about 2 months, get into another doctor, and then the second one saw something, the first one didn't, right? So what, the first one's an idiot, right? But the truth is that it takes time for life to solidify, right? Just like anything, you have, it's yin and yang is this phase of from nothing to something, and then from something then to nothing. Okay, so circadian rhythm, I inverted this to the side so that it matches this. So when the five different phases, when it's imaged to the body, it breaks down to different times. Okay? So today we're going to go over the Earth phase, right, which is from 7 to 11. Not the same thing. You're thinking 7 to 11 p.m. Not that place. This is 4 hours from 7 to 11 a.m., which is where you should be eating food. In Chinese, they have a saying that says the breakfast is what you eat for yourself. Is the feast for the emperor, for you. Lunch, you eat for friends. And dinner, you eat for enemies. So right here, modern science has already discovered it. Right at 8 o'clock is where you're supposed to eat, right? Which is the stomach. And then when you have the heart, my last summer class I talked about, the heart's mind guides the brain, right? So that's where the heart comes in, where you have optimal activity. A lot of athletes peak their performance, right? And then down here is what? The small intestine, the bladder. The tea that you're drinking is actually strengthening the small intestine. Okay, then comes down here, okay, kidney, around this area. Your body temperature is the maximum, so people feel the need to engage in reproductive activities. That's what kidney is mostly about. Okay, and then right at night here is gallbladder. They need to sleep. A lot of patients, they come in to see me, and then they're surprised. I said, I look at the tongue. I said, okay, you wake up at 2-3 a.m. in the morning. How'd you know that? Obvious. The liver is pale. The tongue is pale. It means the liver is drained of blood. That means this person is overexhausted, so they can't sleep because they have no more energy to sleep. And then you're coming back here. So today we're just going to focus on this aspect right here, from 7 to 11 a.m. So this is the 5-element theory. The 5-element theory states that, right? This is wood, nourishes fire, just like nature. Fire nourishes earth, earth nourishes metal, metal nourishes water, water nourishes earth again. So that it's a cycle. Now some of you get here, you might think, okay, well, elements, you're talking about like air and the ether and all of that. So again, in Chinese medicine, we have our own system because we are at the 45-degree angle from the earth. So equator would be 0, 45 would be right at the middle, and then the North Pole, right? So where the other one was invented with the 4 elements was actually in Greece. So they're a little bit south. So they're the 65-degree one. So then they didn't observe 4 seasons like the Chinese did. So what then we do is that we apply this theory to medicine. This is implemented in acupuncture, herbs, as well as astrology. So this is all the energy channel that's going on in the body. Who wants to be a model up here, and I can show where the energy is going? Okay, all right, stand up, come on up here. First, we're gonna go over the stomach channel, okay? So at 7 a.m., you have to know, actually, there's a correction later. 7 a.m. solar time. So when Detroit, Michigan is having 7 a.m., New York is also having 7 a.m. But the sun wouldn't get over to above Michigan until 8:30 due to daylight savings time and the 30-minute difference. So when it says 7, just add an hour and a half to it in daylight savings time. Make sense? So at 8:30 a.m., the energy starts at the eye, right here. And then it goes down. It goes down to stamina's cheeks here, and it goes all the way down here, okay? And then goes down to the all sides, the shin, and then goes to the second toe, the index finger toe. And then it becomes 9 o'clock. And then the second toe goes to the first toe, and the first toe then comes up the body in here, like that blue, and then it goes back up to the neck. Okay? And then from the neck, then it goes back to the eye, and then the eye, the heart channel there, okay, becomes the heart, and then it comes down from here down here, and then goes right here to here. Okay. Quick note: a lot of ladies that has breast cancer. Everybody knows breast cancer, right? It happens at the top quadrants of the chest is where the heart channel travels. Okay? For those of you that have been in my last class, heart has to do with what? Like emotions, joy, right? Yeah. So if you have trouble being joyful, those are the people that are prone to breast cancer, because right there is where you see, right, the heart from what? The dotted line to the solid line, right? There's a transition. There's no emotion, there's no transition from the inside to the outside. That's the issue. Okay? So then we go to here, and then it goes from the ring finger to the small finger, small intestines, and goes up behind the arm, and then goes back up to the jaw. This we talked about. If it's an emotional damage, right? Some people have jaw pain, TMJ. Jaw's locking up. You go see the dentist, they have no issue. You can't see any issues with that. That's because it's emotional. The small intestine and the heart are connected. And it's all in the summer. So, what time is the best time to break up with your girlfriend or boyfriend or spouse?
When you hit the lottery.
So, there's a tip for the young people in this room. I have my staff. You're gonna break up with your spouse. Don't break up in the summertime. You're gonna break up. Summer solstice is the worst time to break up with somebody because the heart energy is okay. Heart energy is strong. You break up with someone, then they'll have TMJ. They'll have TMJ right up here. TMJ up here. TMJ down here is the large intestine. We'll talk about that later. And then right, goes to the heart, small intestine. As you see, that red color is the yang channel, yin color is the yin channel. Okay. Yang channel goes from down from the extremities down up to the head, right? And then it goes down here. And the bladder down to the feet. This is all the way to the back. Okay. Right? And then, so you get the idea. So then, from then the pinky toe, then to the second toe, the gallbladder, or the kidney. Okay, so from here, go inside here from the center of the feet. Okay? The center of the feet, all the way up here. That is the kidney. Okay. So you can kind of see where one channel ends, the next channel connects. Okay. So thank you, Stan. I think people are getting the idea. So then the idea is that depends on different times of year that you're having different kinds of issues, right? Is that so? For example, some people have gallbladder issues, right? So you look at heart is what, like summertime, right? Gallbladder is what? In contrast, this summer, this winter, right? So if at winter, say you don't want to stay in, you want to participate in, I don't know, winter sports, okay? Then what happens? Then the gallbladder channel has issues.
Okay, wait a second. So, why is it that the gallbladder channel has issues?
So this is the energy flow
Okay,
of 24 hours a day.
okay,
Okay? A day is a whole cycle.
right.
There is also 24 segments of the year. Okay? What's 24 times 15?
I don't know.
360.
300. Oh, there we go.
360.
Okay.
Okay? So there's 15 micro seasons in a year. Or 15 days is one measurement, and there is 24 units that you go around. So then for each season, so the summertime is those summer dates we were talking about, right? So what we talked about was that it's heart, so you need to be young, you need to be active, right? And then that's the heart. So if you have heart blockage, heart damage, and emotional damage, you're gonna have issues in the heart channel. In the winter time, you're supposed to rest. Winter time, people don't rest. They're gonna have issues on their gallbladder channel. So if someone magically has a pain right here that won't go away, they go see all the doctors, is because in the winter time, they're supposed to rest. But the job requires them to work a triple shift. And you work that for that 1 year, and you have issues from then on. So as you see that acupuncture is related more than just physiology, right? More than just physical therapy, more than just like mechanical issues. It has to do with a sequence, okay? It's a rhythm. It's the rhythm of the day, rhythm of the season. All right, so these are the Yang Yin channels. This is just the same picture enlarged, okay? So what you should take away from this is that there is outside, the energy travels from the outside. By the way, who's had acupuncture here and then they feel like something is like on top of their skin is moving, right? So that is the energy that travels from the outside. And then there is the energy that travels from the inside, right? So this is how you feel inside, is the stomach channels down here. And then it comes down, right, this way, and then it comes down this way for the spleen, for the small intestine. Okay, so that should be spleen. Small intestine is spleen. Okay? All right, this is spleen. So now we get a little bit interesting. Spleen on top of, right, everything has to do with analytical thinking, memory, cognition, intelligence, and ideas. Okay? And it's also in charge of all of this, but it's smarter than the stomach because it harnesses wisdom and intention. This is your body's way of able to utilize your resources. Okay? So some people may have a lot of resources at their disposal, but they don't know how to properly utilize those resources, right? Okay. So we all have that issue. That could be learned. But then some people, you may say they're just lucky because they, you know what? They did need to learn that, but they're still are good at that. Like that person has a good spleen. So what is the spleen? The spleen is actually, has to do a couple of things, and they're all gonna catch up, okay? In Chinese, we say that bad spleen energy means that this person has a bad temper. In English too, it says splenetic. This actually means this person is bad temper and spiteful. The way that you're processing the food that you consume is the same way sometimes you process information. So when you're learning something, for example, right? If someone's spleen is having a hard time, they're having a hard time focus. They always have to stop, kind of have that bathroom break in their mind. So what is this in the modern day? Right? ADHD, right? His kids gets overfed with sugar, so now they can't focus unless they have sugar. So what the spleen wants is sweet. This is why before the exam, someone eats like a chocolate bar or some candy, right? Gives you a stimulus to think, right? But that's too sweet, because throughout our lives of our ancestors, we never had anything that sweet up to the modern era. Nothing was that sweet. We have a piece of fruit, it's not even that sweet. Modern day fruits are being modified to be very sweet. And now we talk about how the spleen is able to, right, govern the mental state of the body, right? Which we talk about the intentions. People with spleen disharmony, they tend to not think right. Not think right, meaning, right, worry, excessive thinking, right, remorse, regret, self-doubt, okay? So for them, it's kind of like they want to make up for that lack. They always see a need to. Does that make sense? This doesn't mean that if you don't have a good spleen, you're a bad person. It just means that you have the need to make up for what you lack. So that becomes very important to you. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
But if the spleen is normal, then, right? Right? Let's say if I was tall, then people wouldn't come up to me and say, oh, you're not that short. But I didn't say anything, you know? So then they're trying to say, okay, don't worry about it. But if you know that you're an honest person, you don't really have to say I'm an honest person, right? That's a given. Right? If you're open, accepting, right, balanced, right, then it's just what it is. You don't need to explain yourself. But if you have to explain yourself all the time, right, the spleen is having issues. So with acupuncture, we're going to slowly overcome that. All right, so which earth is good? Who loves this one? Right? What do you feel like when you feel, if you can picture yourself in there, what do you feel like?
Dirty.
Right.
What else do you feel? You could picture what? What creature lives here? Like a lot of mosquitoes, right? Like, you would say like, okay, if I go there, like, I just want to feel like I'm itching, right? Right? So this is the stomach is not strong, doesn't control water very well, and people actually have itchy skin. They have shingles, okay? They have different breakouts, any type of acne, any type of different issues. Right? So this is actually called a phlegm. Phlegm blocking the yang from entering the yin. Okay, so then you have all this layer of fluid that's being contained inside, not being able to move. Okay, but this is ideal, right? This is good earth. Looks like it's growing crops, and people are not industrializing the farming, so that's pretty good. And now I talk about, this is a little snapshot of the future. This is actually how the earth is interacting with the kidney. Kidney and bladder is the water element of the body. So if you have good earth, you can contain your water. This is Yellow River, which is the founding place of Chinese civilization. Due to deforestation, now Yellow River looks like that. It used to look like this. At one point it looks like that. People keep cutting trees down, right? Trees, greens has to do with liver, and right? So there's no trees to control the earth. Now earth can't control water. So now flood. Okay? What is flood in the body? Yeah, too much water, right? Edema, right? It could be, so that's that kidney not functioning well due to swelling in the leg. Okay? And kidneys not functioning well because the stomach is doing a bad job containing the kidney. This is ideal, right? This is okay with modern day, okay? So you have some trees on the side to control from the water, the dirt being lost, carried by the water. And this is also nice. This just means that, right, there's a lot of earth, no water, so what we don't want to see is that, right, the liver is gone, the liver has no nourishment, and then now one thing after another, and then causes natural disasters. So all natural disasters can be translated into a disease humans can have. But you have to kind of use your abstract imagination of kind of seeing how that relates. Does that make sense? So studying acupuncture is kind of interesting. You don't have to study to be a physician or an actual person. You just study the theory. It's kind of nice. Is how we explain phenomena in nature is also how we explain phenomena that's going on in your body. Okay, so what's good? Sweets. Okay, but when we see sweet, we have different kinds. Who knows what these are? Who doesn't know what these are?
Dates.
Yeah. So dates is what nourishes the spleen. Okay, so you get natural sugar from these. So actually, when people say sugar in the Chinese civilization, we mean rice. Rice is kind of like a stabilizer. Who here knows that Chinese people eat rice with every meal? Right? But then people are like, okay, well, that's too much carbs. I don't want carbs. But this is actually a discipline in your body. Okay? You eat rice every day. What's rice? Rice is sweet, right? Sweet is also what? Stabilizing, right? Sweet also helps you transition, right? So you and your husband are fighting. It's like, oh, okay, well, why do you fight? Eat some rice. Okay, let's get back together. Right? Make sense? Oh, I want to quit my job. Oh, why you quit? Let's eat some rice. Okay, now, right? So you have that reinforcement of sweet earth. You always reinforce your earth so that you always are consistent. So that you're not. Today I want to be the conqueror, and then tomorrow it's like, okay, I want to be a scientist. And then the next day I want to be something else. Who knows someone like that? Okay, yeah. So that's why that stabilizer is very important in India. And obviously these candies are just too much. Okay. Winning the lottery. What happens if you win the Powerball? Like you're gonna spend some money on acupuncture first, right? And that, right? That's bad for some people, right? Some people do all these things that are dangerous and then they die within a couple weeks. They don't know what to do with themselves. This is kind of the same thing. You eat this sweet, then your body kind of gets in shock and says, wow, this is a lot of sweet. I've never been able to handle. I'll remember my ancestors are eating these. All right, so this one you can take a picture of. This is just general seasoned eating. What you should be eating at when. Obviously, right, this is just a rough guideline. Ideally, you should be growing your own food, harvesting your own food. You only eat what is growing in season, you're eating in that. But then if you just have grocery stores, then at least eat according to this. This is not bad. Okay. And then right here, same thing. Okay, so you can see that. Okay, so what if somebody has very little earth? Right. What if someone has very little earth?
Okay.
And they didn't eat fire, right? Fire-related foods, right? So you need eat earth, right? Something sweet. So when in doubt, you can just eat the fall season for the earth season. And then we also use taste. I know in the modern day there is a crusade against sweet foods and salty foods. But actually a little bit of balance is good. Okay? A little bit of balance. Because let's say if somebody's having, what if someone's having like a really bad atrial fibrillation? Like a heart issue. Okay, so,
When they use the red stuff, I would say, right,
yeah.
red vegetables and fruits.
So then you will want to avoid, and that's too much, heart is overactive, right?
Where does meat fall in that category?
Okay, are you looking to eat meat or what?
Just knowledge.
Okay, very good. So, very good. So different meat actually has different elements, okay? So chicken is very fire and wood, okay? Earth is beef. And then the metal is actually horse. But nobody eats horse, right? And then fish and pig is water. We're almost done. Good practices and bad practices. The good practice is eating on time. You remember that what we did with stamina is that, right? You have different times, your different energy channels go to different places, right? To reset every day on right, you eat at the dot 8:34 a.m. You take your first bite, chew. And that's when your energy gets aligned right. Because if you start eating at 12 o'clock, oh, I don't eat breakfast, I always skip that. I start eating at 12, so then what happens is that the energy channels start to move at 12, then you're not sinking. And by the time at night, which is kidney pericardium time, your temperature is cooling down, your energy channel is still stuck in small intestine, still hungry. Because you started eating in the morning too late. So by nighttime, it's dinner time. When it's bedtime, it's dinner time.
So
Dinner time needs to happen at dinner time. And then another one is strengthen your trust. Whether this is trust with God, trust with friends, trust in nature, trust in the process. Because the spleen and stomach belongs to earth, and the virtue of earth is trust. Why is that? How do you determine trust? Give 3 characteristics of someone you can trust. What would that person be like?
stable.
What else?
Honest.
Honest. What else?
Can grow with them.
What makes someone honest? Person's consistent, right? Reliable, right? Yeah. So what in your body's function is stable, consistent, reliable, or supposed to be? Bowel movements, right? You're supposed to poop every day, right? At least normally. So when you have good trust, you have good bowel movements.
Wow.
So by strengthening trust within yourself, you also strengthen your body functions, which is the earth element, which is the virtue of trust. So is it possible for someone to trust too much? Is the question. And be more consistent, right? The key is developing a consistent thing. So it could be, what's consistent for you could be, right, going to martial art practice, right? Going to something routine. Right? Every Sunday I go to church, or like something that's a routine. I always do this time, okay? And obviously having a routine of eating is also good. All right, now let's say some mistakes. Some people, they Google online, so what's good? And they get a whole bunch of supplements, unknown supplements. And different things belong to different categories. Different things taste different. Remember, We have sour that nourish the liver and gallbladder. We have the bitter, and then we have the salty. So they just eat everything, and then their body becomes very confused. Their spleen doesn't know what to make of what they just ate. Okay? So what are some things that if you're gonna eat, right? So why do you eat ginger and turmeric? Why is that? People are like, oh, you eat some ginger, eat some turmeric, good for digestion. Right? Why? Because it's brown, right? Yellow, right? Which is earth. Make sense? And I see people that get all these supplements in powder form and then they put it in this and they drink it cold. That's cold damp in a bottle, okay? Which will lead to chronic fatigue. If you go to your favorite smoothie shop and you find yourself drinking smoothie in the morning without eating, you're gonna feel good at first. Give it 3 months, you're gonna have a chronic fatigue. Because cold foods damage the spleen chi. It's not what's in it, it's how you're doing the process. Right? And then another thing is skipping meals. I like to call out intermittent fasting, very bad for you. But then again, depends on who you love, right? If you think that life is about glory and conquer, then maybe intermittent fasting is good because you can live a short life. But right, maybe you want to be on Instagram and showing off your muscles. But we're talking about what? Right? That cycle, right? Longevity, fulfillment, long-term thinking, right? Wisdom. Intermittent fasting is damaging to the stomach. I would say if you're going to do intermittent fasting, at least do it in the morning. You do it at night. These are just the things that we do at our clinic that you can see. Almost every patient gets these 3 points. All the time. Because when you get these stomach points going, the energy, the body starts to go and it cures its own diseases. And then we also do this too here, the spleen. We do all of these.